Bill in Southbank. Morning, Bill.
Good morning, John and panellists. John, I wanted to compliment you on your interview with the Vic Rail guy or the V-Line guy earlier. I thought that was an excellent examination of his shortcomings. Look, the ABC, of course, is banging on about Julian Assange again. It was all over the 7 p.m. news last night and again today. I just wonder whether you remember being at the Wheeler Centre 4 or 5 years ago when you were talking with Eva Gabrielsen, the widow of Stieg Larsson.
Mm-hmm.
And she was describing in some detail the difficulties that she had had with the Swedish legal system in relation to getting access to Stieg's estate, because his father and brother, I think, took legal action and more or less cut her out. And
just to explain, because people may be wondering, Bill, she is the widow of the man who wrote The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and that series of books, which generated squillions of dollars in royalties after he died.
Indeed.
And then she didn't get a cent.
That's right. And you had quite a terrific interview with her at the Wheeler Centre, and I commend to all listeners to go to the Wheeler Centre whenever possible and see some fantastic presentations. On that particular night at question time, I took the opportunity to ask Eva, given her intimate knowledge of the Swedish legal system, and this is 4 or 5 years ago, whether she thought that Julian Assange should simply go to Sweden and answer the questions. And she said, yes, he should go. I'm not sure whether the tape is still on the Wheeler Centre website, but that's the answer she gave. She knows the Swedish legal system better than you and I and many other people, and she said he should have gone. Now, this latest UN business I find laughable, because the UN, the Human Rights Council, is made up of a bunch of less than fantastic examples of human rights countries, such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Cuba, United Arab Emirates,
North Korea.
What do you mean, Bill? I mean, the Saudis know a lot about human rights.
Well, they cut off heads when it suits them.
Yeah.
So the idea that the UN should be the arbiter of what is right and what is wrong in the world, to me, is absolutely laughable.
Okay, so bottom line, you just think he should front up to Sweden. We spoke to Julian Assange this morning. Georgie, Katie, what do you think he should be doing? Georgie?
Oh, well, I agree with Bill. I think the UN here is just showing once again its irrelevance. I mean, Julian Assange has not been arbitrarily detained. He chose to seek political asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy in London of his own volition. I just think it's interesting, though, in this Julian Assange debate, that the left finds it somehow excusable that this is a guy who is alleged to have raped a woman, to have broken a condom while forcing himself on her, and yet and he seems to be beyond criticism, because
no, it was consensual sex, but when the condom was broken,
he was forcing himself on her.
She wanted to stop.
It's alleged. I mean, I absolutely realise that he hasn't been taken before the courts. That's of course the issue. He won't go to Sweden to face the courts.
You think the left should stop championing him?
I do. Okay. I think that's hypocritical.
As someone who would describe themselves as being a bit of a lefty, look, I think he should leave and go to Sweden and answer the questions, you know.
So you're actually in agreement on this?
We are.
Wow. Katie Hall and Georgina Downer. Georgina's from the Liberal Party's admin committee. Katie Hall's a former Labor ministerial advisor, in furious agreement about Julian Assange. But back to more of your calls.